So now, as part of the ceremony, Tiziana and Amelia would like to share some thoughts about Vea.
Thanks a lot. You know, I was for 30 years the pedagogista of the Diana School, but I was also a mother, and you have seen me coming with my daughter by bicycle. Now she is 27 years old. So it was a time in which we were going out from the idea of didactic unit program. We never felt comfortable with this sort of idea, and we were slowly moving toward what today we call progettazione, a strategy, a way of thinking, more able, we think, to take care of the process of what emerged in the interaction. And during that years, Malaguzzi was talking a lot about this idea of progettazione, that we were trying to work in this way, with this attitude, with this, and we were learning. We were in the process of learning. We still are in that process, but that was really at the beginning, and we really needed to have tools, elements that could support us in moving in this way. And documentation was one of the aspects that we really were struggling with. Because documentation as a memory, as a collection of what we did, as the image of the product of the children, in reality were not enough to support us inside this idea of progettazione that was looking especially at the process. So one day, can I see the slide over there? Sorry. I have slide to show, sorry. So one day, on talking with Vea and exchanging idea about all this, one day one of the teacher, Marina, was trying to describe what she was doing with a small group of children, and especially what she has been able to understand, to grasp of what was going on. This is an image of that time, the end of the 80s. Vea is inside the class. Marina is with a group of children. You see, she only has a tape recording, and she's taking notes. There was no one taking picture, make it visible, as we used to say, what was going on. And so the idea that Vea came up with was, since your notes are so precise, why don't you try to go over and do exactly what you have seen children did, so that we have something that we can share among ourselves of what you felt so important. I don't know if it was the right moment to do this. I don't know if was a big enlightening idea of Vea, because you know that there are moments in which you are more ready for grasp things. But this opened up my eyes, my heart, whatever you want to call it, because at that moment I felt really we were moving much more closer than we ever were to the idea of documenting in process. Documenting in a way useful to the way in which we want to use the progettazione. To be able to go behind the description of what is going on and what you can see. And you see, the children made horses with clay. And you see the strategy of Gloria, 5 years and a half old. She begins by rolling into a piece of clay. Then she bends a little snake. And then she made an eyes inside it. Then she did, I am doing legs. So she was sort of telling to herself what she was doing, showing that she knew the horse as an head, as an eyes, as legs. Then she said, "It won't stand up. Hey, why don't you hold still?" It was too fragile. It couldn't stand up. Then Gloria laid the horse on the table again, squeezing the form. It was angry, it was mad, it happened by chance, who knows? But beside what was the cause, what was that caused this, what was important was this transformation. A transformation that it's not only in the clay that is there in front of the child, but is the transformation that took place in the mind of the child. She got to see the possibility of the horse in another way. She moved from one schema to another, and at that point, she looked at the horse from another point of view, and she could keep going and finish his horse. What was amazing for me and opened up a totally new world, is that with this idea there, was able to share with us the process. She was able to share with me that I was coming from a degree in psychology and not in the field of art. The idea of using a way to make the horse that is more close to the graphic language than the clay language. This child was still dealing with this horse in clay with a more closest mindset to the graphic language than clay. This was a step very important in moving from the idea of bidimensional to three-dimensional that is needed in order to switch from one language to the others, to get to know better the identity of the different languages, in order to be able to act differently, and in order to be able also to face the problem of stability. because that is the other point. And when you see that the children is happy, because when they play with clay, they want always to give life to what they are trying to represent. And this sort of circularity between the fact that you have a mental representation that you want to carry it out through the material you are using in order to make with clay, with graphic, or with painting something, but also the fact that the vocation that this material is bringing to your mental representation. It's a fantastic thing to think about. But it's not, I'm not presenting this. I just wanted to keep thinking of when Vea got this idea of telling Marina, why don't you do what you have seen and take a picture of all this step and then let's discuss together of what was going there. We felt really we were moving toward another world. And there is also another small story, but maybe, I don't know if I have to stop. And this is the finished horse that Gloria at that point did. And you see that the pleasure of the children that was almost embarrassed, not comfortable before, at that point she could just make all this curly hair of her female horse and so on. So that was the first time that personally I felt I was going close, as close as I could, to the idea of understanding the process that are behind what we see the children doing, and what we meant that we are interpreting the research of the children to pick up idea to relaunch other proposal. Because the idea of the identity of the two media, the idea of the stability, was what next allowed us to work with these children in other contexts and in future proposal. So I will always be very glad and riconoscente, grateful to Vea, because she really, with this idea, open up another story through which we increase the different meaning and level through which documentation has been an important process for all of us in our job.